at some point or other, we will have to face the truth that the critical mass is out of phase with the lower realm. The critical mass is not a making of a selection from what is similar. It is a reaping of the dissimilar. It is a calling out of the dissimilar from what is considered the norm and the acceptable on the earth plane. The critical mass pushes the self-organizing system to make a selection because the critical mass opposes the thought process that is acceptable on the earth plane. Welcome to part 7 and the final in this series entitled Unfolding the Missing Piece in the Spiritual Puzzle. As we bring this series entitled Unfolding the Missing Piece in the Spirituality Puzzle to a close, we shift gear to give an overview of the cosmological concept of consciousness. An understanding of the structure and function of the cosmos would not be complete without an understanding of consciousness. What is consciousness? Many equate consciousness to awareness, but this is a rather limited view of the word. It is limited because I may not be aware, and yet inherent to the unit of energy I am is the mechanism to be aware or to become aware. Cosmic spirituality takes into consideration this inherent mechanism when we speak of human as a conscious unit of energy. The state of nothingness is a spiritual state in which the spirit being exists without an awareness of its existence. But the fact that the spirit being exists and has the ability to become aware makes the unit of conscious energy a part of the sea of consciousness. Consciousness is all around us in various forms. You are conscious, and so am I. We are all a part of the infinite consciousness. We are able to feel and perceive the cosmos, and the cosmos has the ability to feel and perceive us. Some of us are more sensitive by nature or by the way of our advancement of the consciousness. We are more sensitive than others, but we all are able to perceive the conscious field that surrounds us. The entire cosmos is a thinking, feeling, perceiving, life-giving force. And the life-giving force takes itself from a lower state of consciousness to a higher state by its internal logic. Since we all are a part of the very substance of the life-giving force, we all have the ability to transcend. We are capable of a spiritual emergence that is superior to our present state of being. We are able to discreate what we create. We are able to dispose of any thought process that limits us and reach for a more advanced and complex one. In fact, it is detrimental to be at the dawn of an awakening and to put up a resistance to moving forward. Consciousness is not allowed to just exist during the evolutionary stage of the cosmic cycle. Consciousness must be prepared to move, to advance. And as we pointed out earlier, the lower realm is so structured as to ensure that the consciousness either advances or regresses. Since consciousness has the inherent ability to transcend, there are more than one state of the consciousness, and every state comprises innumerable degrees. States and stages of the consciousness are, as we have outlined in the revelation of the eternal realm. And we will not dig too deep in it here. An identification mark of the consciousness is its thought process, and each state of the consciousness undergoes a process called streaming that brings about a fine-tuning of that thought process. The thought process is the same, but every incremental move advances the thought. An incremental change is a change in vibrational frequency, but this change does not put the individual out of phase with the initial thought. The individual is still in alignment with the thought. It is a change of state of the consciousness that rocks the boat, not a change in stage, because stage is from one degree to the next, but a change of state is an emergent from one that exists, and this emergence has the ability to be opposite to that from which it comes from. And the change of state that is most destructive for the lower realm is a change from the religious self-consciousness to the cosmic consciousness. Every emerging state of the consciousness is more advanced or complex in comparison to the one from which it emerges. The state of the consciousness may be considered simple to those possessing it, but to those possessing the state from which it emerges, the emergent state is complex. The thought process does not make sense. The thought process is wrong, and the thought process is wrong because it does not represent the state from which it emerges. A given state of the consciousness cannot comprehend a state or stage higher than itself. It can comprehend a lower stage or state, but comprehending a higher is not allowed by cosmological law. The cosmic consciousness is completely out of phase with the lower realm, and this prompts the self-organizing, life-giving force to make a selection so as to preserve the lower realm. The cosmic consciousness is selected or elected to move on to another dimension. The cosmic consciousness is out of phase with the lower realm. It is out of phase with its governance. It is out of phase with its social justice, and it's out of phase with its knowledge base. The coexistence of the religious self-consciousness and the cosmic thought within the lower realm plunges the realm into serious chaos. While the cosmic consciousness is aware of the religious thought, the cosmic consciousness looks back at the religious consciousness and it seems foreign and ludicrous, not making any sense. And the religious self-consciousness cannot begin to comprehend the cosmic thought. It is too advanced. Let's look at one implication of the two states coexisting. We will not go into much detail because, again, the Revelation of the Eternal Realm is a book that dealt with all of what we're covering here in much more detail. I have many friends with whom I have shared socially over the years. But as my inner cosmic thought solidifies, our conversation becomes rather strange and strained. It is very difficult to attempt to move a conversation beyond that pertaining to the weather. And there can be no discussion that focuses on life, its meaning and purpose, justice, truth, or the cosmos. And even some world events that are hot topics cannot be discussed because we no longer share similar views about almost everything. The cosmic consciousness suffers more from this social incongruity because in comparison to the religious self-consciousness, they are very few and far apart. It does get lonely here sometimes. For many of us, we go through our daily life like dumb because we no longer fit and have very few or no one with whom to relate or communicate. The world is in trouble, and the awakened must prepare themselves to move on to another dimension. We need to be more than enlightened. We need to become empowered. We must transform our vibration to that which is required for self-governance. The awakened must begin to live in accordance with reason and responsibility. We must come to the full understanding of oneness and community living as is founded on the higher plane. Liberation can only take place when the critical mass to allow this operation is reached, hence the return of the Cresto or cosmic thought to heighten the vibration of those who are being awakened. This preparation cannot be done by religious leaders. Religious leaders do not understand the thought process, and the only individuals who are able to facilitate those who are at the dawn of the awakening are those who are awakened themselves. Psycho-spiritual coaching is not about supplying a new set of laws or rules for the individual to follow. Psycho-spiritual coaching supplies the tools that those in the dawn of the awakening may employ to awaken within themselves self-mastery and self-governance. We facilitate the process, but the job is yours to do. This is the return of the Cresto. I do hope you find this series to be more than enlightening. I hope it motivates you to seek from within and to become full. Join the mass of Quest or cosmic thinkers. This is the return of the Christ.